Welcome into the 2-2 Falcons today. Atlanta dropped a bad game in London against the Jags, and now they've lost 2 in a row, and it feels like the sky is falling in ATL. So we're going to run through some Week 4 overreactions, talk about Desmond Ridder, Kyle Pitts, this defense. But rain or shine, we cover the Falcons, which is why you have to subscribe to the channel, because I don't want you to miss a single thing when it comes to the Dirty Birds all season long. And that's right, all season long, because the season's not over. They're 2-2 right now. They got to pick it up, and they got to pull up their bootstraps, and they got to get ready for the Texans coming to town this Sunday, because that is not going to be a cakewalk game. So let's get into our Week 4 overreaction, starting with this first one. Desmond Ridder is not the future. I don't think that's an overreaction. Accurate. It's been 2 tough games for Desmond Ridder in back-to-back weeks, but Desmond Ridder is not looking like a day 2 draft gem that the Falcons found, hit a home run on, and he's going to be the next franchise QB for 10-plus seasons. Yesterday was as bad as it gets. The 2 interceptions were bad decisions. And when you look at interceptions, I always look at them through the lens of bad throws and bad decisions, right? You can try and coach bad throws out of a player, right? He can watch film and he can realize, okay, I just had a bad throw there. Bad decisions, those ones sometimes scare me a little bit more because it's like, dude, what were you looking at? Like, we can watch all the film we want and whatnot, but if you looked at the play and thought that's where the football should go, we've got a big problem on our hands here. Against the Jags, Desmond Ridder was 19 for 31. Why are we having him throw the ball 31 times, too? I understand you're behind and you're trying to make a comeback, but that's too high of a number in my eyes. 191 yards, 1 touchdown, and 2 interceptions, and a fumble, too, that I forgot to mention, and a QBR 10.7. I think yesterday made things crystal clear for the Falcons. Desmond Ridder's not the guy moving forward. Like, I know it's just one game, but it's more than one game. It's 2 straight games. He's got 8 starts now under his belt, right? 4 from last season, 4 from this season. If we're 8 starts into any NFL starting quarterback's career and we don't know whether or not he's the guy, you do know if he's the guy. The answer is no, right? If you are into the 8th start of NFL quarterback's career and you are still a little bit uncertain, that means he's not the guy, because you should know 8 games in whether or not he's got it. Teammates know it. Coaches know it. Fans are always a little bit behind to know it. But 8 games in, he's got 5 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. Unfortunately, it's just not looking like Desmond Ridder is going to be the one that ultimately takes Atlanta to the promised land and is the quarterback for this team for the next decade plus. Because Atlanta's offense through the first 4 weeks of the season, the last 2 weeks are just unacceptable. 6 points and 7 points, 1 touchdown to show for in 8 quarters of football. Can't have it. Cannot have it, right? Awesome win against the Carolina Panthers in Week 1, playing Bryce Young. Week 2 is one of those, hey, just turnaround games. I mean, incredible fourth quarter comeback. Desmond Ridder played well in that comeback, but he was also a reason why they were trailing by so much to begin with. But the last 2 weeks, it's just not cutting it anymore. 1 touchdown of 2 games, it's getting bad. It's actually gone from bad to ugly. So what's your confidence level in Desmond Ridder? For me, I'm at a 2.9. 2.9 because I did get to see some good things from him in the first 2 weeks of the season, and I want to believe that guy can still come out there on Sunday. But 2 straight games of bad performance, 8 games of 5 touchdowns to show for, I don't know how much more we really need to see to figure out whether or not Desmond Ridder is the guy. If Ridder stinks it up versus the Texans this week, I think he will and he should get benched for Taylor Heinicke. I don't think Desmond Ridder has earned himself a super-duper long leash to begin with. Taylor Heinicke was not signed for pennies. Like, as far as backup quarterback contracts go, the Falcons made a decent investment in their backup QB, and it's a backup that's not like a Brian Hoyer. It's not a Chase Daniel, right? It's not someone at the end of their career. No, they clearly think, hey, if we had to turn to Heinicke, he could help us improve. And right now, I don't see how this team could get worse with a different quarterback at the helm. So, unfortunately for Desmond Ridder, I'm at my end with him. If it's one more bad game against the Houston Texans, I think we're going to hit the reset button. We're going to go with Taylor Heinicke moving forward. And if that does happen, I know no one likes this guy, but I'm going to be the I told you so guy because I'm going to go back to March and April and May when some of you, and you know who you are, were so pissed off at me for talking about getting Lamar Jackson over Desmond Ridder, and you called me crazy to suggest that. Look at us now. All right. Today's episode of Falcons Today, though, is being sponsored by Game Time. You shouldn't have to worry when you're buying tickets to your next big event. Game Time is the fast and easy way to buy tickets for all the sports, music, comedy, and theater events near you. So if you're trying to catch an upcoming Falcons game, or you want to see a Braves game, a concert, or any sporting event in your area, Game Time is the place to visit first. What I love about Game Time specifically was that when I was in town in Atlanta for a wedding this past weekend, I was able to go catch a Braves-Cubs game at the drop of a hat because of Game Time having the best tickets at the last minute possible. So you don't have to break the bank trying to go watch a sporting event. Game Time is the only ticketing app that gives you complete peace of mind with your purchase. Buy tickets in seconds with just 2 taps. They're obsessed with finding ways to help you save money on tickets. Game Time has deals on tickets right up to the start of the event and even an hour after it starts. It's the place to find last-minute seats. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code FalconsChat for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply, but again, create an account and redeem code FalconsChat for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last-minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Second overreaction now. Kyle Pitts. Is he a bust? It's trending that way. And I have long maintained the stance of Kyle Pitts is not a bust. The Falcons are failing Kyle Pitts. But when Jonnu Smith is outproducing and outperforming Kyle Pitts, I might have to change my tune. It's just getting worse for Pitts at this point. I continue to search for a reason as to why he is not producing more because I don't want to believe that he's just a bad football player in the NFL, and it's going to go down as one of the worst top 5 picks in the draft in recent memory, and he stunk it up in the league, and he was only good in college for Florida. I don't want to think that's the truth here. But Jonnu Smith, the backup tight end, is outplaying Kyle Pitts. I mean, he took over in that Jags game. 179 yards on the season. More yards per reception. More receptions off fewer targets. I can't tell if it's a Kyle Pitts problem, a quarterback problem, a coaching problem. But if it's a quarterback and a coaching problem, then why is Jonnu Smith doing well? Right? That doesn't make sense to me. Maybe I'm a big dum-dum, but why is Kyle Pitts doing worse than Jonnu Smith with one more target, but they have the same quarterback and head coach? The math ain't mathin', right? Kyle Pitts, his rookie season, went over 1,000 yards, but he never really caught on in the red zone. He only had 1 touchdown, but 68 receptions. In his rookie season, there was a good reason to believe that there was going to be a big improvement. Where did that Kyle Pitts go? We got to find him. We got to get an Amber Alert out for that Kyle Pitts because that Kyle Pitts, 1,000-yard rookie season, plenty of reason to believe that he's only going to get better from that, right? He's going to turn 1,000 yards year 1 into 1,200 year 2 and 5 touchdowns. And then from there, 1,300 yards and 8 touchdowns. Instead, it's gone downhill. He's gotten worse by the season since then. So, ultimately, is Kyle Pitts a bust? Type B for bust, type N for not. There are a lot of other teams out there that think they can fix Kyle Pitts and they can get the former 4th overall pick in the draft for a bargain and find the former 4th overall pick talent-wise with their team. And with the trade deadline less than a month away, this will definitely be something to watch for. Third overreaction to get to here. The Falcons defense. Is it elite? Once again, accurate. Yes, I think this Falcons defense is elite. It might not be a fantasy football defense that generates pick sixes and turnovers all the time, but they held the Jags to 16 points. I think that's pretty impressive. To hold a playoff team that won a playoff game last year and with an up-and-coming quarterback in Trevor Lawrence to 16 points, I told you before the game started, hey, quick foreshadowing here. Spoiler alert. Atlanta's defense is going to hold Jacksonville to 16 points. You're probably thinking the Falcons win. Unfortunately, the offense could not do anything with the ball, but the defense made multiple 4th down stops. They held a talented offense with Calvin Ridley and Travis Etienne and Christian Kirk and a good offensive line to 16 points. Like, this is not a defense that has a lot of talent on it either. I mean, no offense to Grady Jarrett and Jesse Bates and AJ Terrell, but the rest of these starters, like Nate Landman and Calais Campbell, like, you got some older guys in Campbell and Bud Dupree, and then you got some question marks at D. Alford and Nate Landman, right? These guys are like Richie Grant, like, they're making plays. They are getting the job done despite not being a defense that has a ton of early draft capital investment into it and a lot of free agent signings. Like, outside of Jesse Bates, there's no big marquee free agent up front for the Falcons, and they are still a very difficult team to run the ball against. Calvin Ridley was put in a pocket for the most part, outside of one blown coverage from A.J. Terrell on a clear miscommunication on what the play call was. He did nothing really, right? 2 grabs, 38 yards, 1 touchdown. You remove that 1 touchdown, what is that, 1 reception for 3 yards? Like, credit to A.J. Terrell in this secondary. They played very well. They held Trevor Lawrence to 207 yards. That's the fewest for T-Law through 4 games this season. And T-Law has played some average defenses like the Indianapolis Colts and the Houston Texans and the Kansas City Chiefs. But it was Atlanta's defense that really gave them the biggest fits so far this year. So I think this defense is absolutely elite, and they are going to keep the Falcons in a lot of ball games this year, which is crazy to think about compared to where they were last season. All right, that's going to do it for us on today's show. Thanks so much for tuning in. Enjoy the rest of your Monday. We will see you all later.